Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining our very first STEMFest. My name is Jill Kafer and I am the Director of Alumni and Constituent Engagement at Kennesaw State University. And I am just so happy that you are here to participate in this first event of STEMFest, one of many that we plan for you in the future. And we're pleased also to have a very special guest joining us to moderate the panel discussion, Trish Mccall. Trish is an alumna of Kennesaw State University. Her degree is in Computer Science Information Systems, and she is currently the Director of Program Management at HPCC Systems for LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Trish is also the co-founder of the ATOM program, a tool donated to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children by LexisNexis Risk Solutions to assist with the distribution of missing child posters. She's always been a strong supporter of KSU. We're honored to have her moderating our panel this evening. And Trish, thank you so much again for hosting tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to you to begin the introductions of the deans. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jill. It is a pleasure to be here tonight. Before we get started, please allow me to cover a little housekeeping items. Please keep your mics muted. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. We will try to answer as many as possible when we get to the alumni Q&A portion of the event. And now it's time to meet our deans. I'd like to let each of the deans from their respective colleges introduce themselves, starting with Dean Ferguson from the Southern Polytechnic College of Engineering and Engineering Technology. Dean Ferguson? Dean Ferguson, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's your turn.
You know, I was just trying to show a great level of incompetence, so it would encourage other people to contribute. I thought we also were having slides up at the same time, because I saw these had dropped.
You're keeping us on our toes, that's what you're doing.
Oh, do you know? Well, you guys are keeping me on my toes. There's a number of people would be quite happy to have me permanently muted. But anyway, let me say I've been at the college now about a year or so. It's just been a great environment. Seen a level of professionalism in both the faculty who teach the classes, because many of them have come from industry. I'm assuming you can read my bio on the screen. Many have come from industry, you know, just bring a great level of professional and expertise into the classroom. And we also see that on the students. So as we share today, hopefully I'll have an opportunity just to share some of some highlights for what's happening in the college. And I'll pass this over to Andrew Payne, to Andrew, Dean Payne. I'm not used to using titles, so.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dean Ferguson. Like you mentioned, my name's Andrew Payne. I'm the Dean for the College of Architecture and Construction Management. Similar to Dean Ferguson and Dean Mensa-Wilmot, I'm new to KSU in this position as Dean. I began in January of this year. Yeah, I took this position very excitedly with the idea that, you know, we've got two departments that are tremendous successes, architecture and construction management. And in speaking with the faculty and the students and the administration, I think we've got some good opportunities here to grow the two departments, conduct some very advanced research, really prepare the students to be work ready in the field, and you know, just look for ways to collaborate between the two departments and across the college. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I think this is going to be a good evening, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'll pass it on now to Dean Preston.
Thank you, Andrew. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much to Jill and to Trish for being here tonight, and for everybody in attendance. We're absolutely thrilled to start off this STEMFest and have all of our alumni joining us. I'll say that I've been here at Kennesaw for a number of years. I was Southern Poly prior to consolidation and came on to build the games program, the Bachelor's in Computer Game Design and Development. Was happy to serve as department chair and then worked with the president during consolidation, and absolutely thrilled to be serving as the Dean of College of Computing and Software Engineering for a number of years now. Really excited to bring, as Andrew mentioned, the industry experience and the connections that we have externally, really focused on that in our college, and absolutely thrilled to have witnessed across the last 11 or 12 years the tremendous growth in computing. We're trying to meet that workforce demand that's out there, and happy to say that our college has more than doubled since 6 or 7 years ago. So great opportunities for students and for all of our computing alumni here. Really glad to have you, whether you came from the Department of Computer Science or Information Systems at Kennesaw, or one of the departments in the School of Computing when we were SPSU. Happy to now be a college. With that said, I'll turn it over to Dean Kojo Mensa-Wilmot.
Okay. Hey, thank you, John. So this is Kojo Mensa-Wilmot from College of Science and Math. I have to say that I've been on the job for 2 months now, and it's been a fast 2 months. I'm still learning where things are, as John will probably tell you, and also Ian. Is one of the reasons why I was delighted to accept the position here is because of, one, the nature of the student population and also where it is and where the College of Science and Math now is in the future of KSU. I think we have a fantastic role to play in the next couple of years, and I'm looking forward to leading us as we try to navigate a difficult environment in the nation, but also a great time to be leading the College of Science and Math towards the missions that we have set ourselves in the next 4 years to be a very competitive R2 institution. That is a great challenge that I'm embracing heavily, and I'll be counting on you guys to support me. So thank you very much for having us here this evening to chat.
Okay. Well, thank you all for those introductions. I can't wait to get started here. We have several questions that we would like to ask the panel. Because of time constraints, I kindly ask each dean to please limit their response to 2 minutes. And at the 2-minute mark, I'll need to transition to the next dean on the panel. So the first question we have is, can you tell us about an innovative research initiative within your college that you are especially excited about? And for this question, let's start with Dean Preston.
Thank you, Trish. Well, I'm going to try to get through 2 innovative research initiatives in our 2 minutes here. I'll focus first on using virtual reality and augmented reality. Our faculty are doing some amazing work in this area, in particular with safety training, working with industrial partners to put people in dangerous situations virtually that you couldn't do otherwise in the real world. So you've got an opportunity to position the camera or position the user and learn how to be safe in a work environment and visualize things that you can't do physically in the real world. So this is a great example of taking computing and extending what you're able to do in the real world there. Also in our VR lab, we're working on therapy, in particular with people who have autism or on the autism spectrum, and we're using virtual reality to help these people learn and be able to interact socially and take the real environment that's around them and help them focus on the salient features that providing cultural cues and social cues and help them interact with people in the real world. So using, in both of these scenarios in virtual reality, we're really able to take training and do therapy to a whole new level. The second thing I'll mention, in addition to our virtual reality, is using analytics and data science and also our using this data in a social setting to do sentiment analysis. So looking out at what's going on in social media and doing proactive conflict management. So this lets us take data that's messy and busy, and then find trends and hopefully apply that to help avoid conflict proactively.
That's very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Dean Mensa-Wilmot, how about you?
All right, so what I would say that is that due to the complexity of the college, because we have so many different disciplines in there, what I would do is just try to capture a little bit of the future and where I see us going in that realm. So first of all, I think what we want to be able to do is to establish an institute in urban ecology. So we're going to have people looking at evolutionary trends in that space. We're also interested in establishing a center for theoretical particle physics, who will be doing some really exciting work in the area of computational optics, as an example. And one thing that I really would like to emphasize as a theme for the college is that we want to be a college of inclusive excellence in STEM. So that's going to permeate a lot of the things that we do. So we want to keep that in mind as a way of thinking going into the future. And then one thing that will bring a lot of people together in terms of what the research we do now and into the future is to think about how molecules are organized and affect human health, and also when they go awry, cause disease. And we want to understand that and then come up with ways to intervene, and also in some cases provide prophylactics for those diseases that we work on. So there's a lot on our plate now, and I'll leave it here because there might be room to revisit some of these topics later on. Yeah.
Absolutely, those topics do pique my interest. Thank you. Dean Payne, please tell us about a research initiative within your college.
Certainly, thank you, Trish. Yeah, I think one of the key things to the way that we're addressing research innovation in our college right now is really collaboration. We're looking at ways to bring architecture and construction management together through faculty and student interactions to advance our research opportunities. And when I say collaboration, I'm talking at many different levels. One of the main areas that we're focusing on right now is design build. And the design build product at the end isn't necessarily the research innovation. It's the methodology that we use to get to the design build conclusion, as well as the way that we can use that product at the end to apply even more research technologies to it. So we're doing several different small scale design build projects, and we can apply sensors to it to read, heat gain, solar gain, energy usage, as far as building occupancy evaluations and the like. And so, the idea of bringing designers and the construction managers together on projects at the collaboration level is really the innovative part for us. For our college, it's something somewhat new to the College of Architecture and Construction Management. And that's something that I want to push further into the future, to where we can get a lot of the people on the design side and the construction management side together at the table, like it really should be.
Yeah, that's excellent. And the power of collaboration, it's always important. Right. Thank you for sharing. And Dean Ferguson, let's hear from you.
I've decided to somewhat ignore the question as well, particularly so I thought I would jump in like everybody else. What I really want to highlight was a couple of things that are happening or emerging. We're bidding on a new master's program in integrated robotic systems. This is really about workforce development and how we can bring people who have somewhat of a STEM background. It doesn't necessarily have to be in engineering, it can be in computing, it can be in mathematics. It could even be in architecture, since I didn't want to exclude Andrew. And there's really not to 60, it's bringing people in from those backgrounds and equipping them. We're also looking at putting in an interdisciplinary PhD that focuses on themes rather than discipline. Then they bring people together to collaborate And we've got these areas, again, of robotic systems, smart infrastructure, so that's building, and how do you embed some Internet of Things type ideas in there to understand what the structure is doing. And we also have the robotics part ties into biomechanical engineering. We also have things going on in what we call 3DX now, so the ability to go from design to final product, you know, without having to necessarily prototype. At the end of the day, what we're really looking to do in our students, and it's really focused on the students, is really to build this sense of an entrepreneurial mindset. And it's an entrepreneurial mindset that will stay in this state because certainly in engineering, about 70% of our students who graduate from our programs are still here after 5 years. The great thing is our faculty have been closing funding, and they're engaging with our undergraduate students in this. So it's not really a case of research being disconnected from our educational mission. It's really about how research is integrated into our educational mission and is part of it. And I think we'll see the economic benefits of this entrepreneurial mindset that will grow up around this institution as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of forward thinking there. That's great for future plans. Well, thank you all for your responses. All those initiatives sound so exciting. But let's move on to our second question. What is the #1 need that each of you have for your college that could be provided by alumni and industry engagement? And for this one, Dean Mensa-Wilmot, let's start with you, please.
Let's see. Okay, so not muted yet. All right, so I want to, they're interconnected, so I don't want to say it's one. First one is that I think that support for our graduate students in a master's and future PhD program will be fantastic. So, because what we want to do is really to propel the work that we're doing here to the level of the really strong R2 institutions in the nation. So that would be fantastic if we can do that. So support for graduate students in a form of fellowships. Second is that we want to think about cluster hires. When I say cluster hires, groups of people working in particular areas in science. So I did mention, for example, molecules in health and disease. We can hire people in those areas, not any particular disease in mind, but using this similar technologies to solve related problems on different diseases can be a fantastic way to move forward. Then finally, I think the area in which we can get the best collaboration with people in the industry is that I consistently worry about the students who come through KSU in the sciences, and particularly in the biology is what I'm really worried about, who do not make it to what their dream career that they might have thought they wanted, go to medical school or dental school. So then you have maybe 90% of the students who need to have had a second solid plan in place while they were at KSU, and maybe we didn't give them that plan. And so that bothers me. And because of that, I'm very fascinated and very attracted to an idea of creating a certificate program of some sort. That program will be in medtech, quality, and safety. And because it's going to be based at KSU, the practical parts of it, internships and so on, will have to come from industry, probably in around the Atlanta area. So that's an area in which partners that are in the area can be of great value to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that insight. Dean Payne, what are your thoughts?
Well, good. Thanks again for this question. And yeah, I really like this this panel discussion the way it is, because I can answer usually in one word. My first question I answered with collaboration. For this one, I mean, it truly is as simple as just engagement. You know, I want to have the students and faculty engaged with the industry professionals. We look for every opportunity to get the students out of the classroom and onto the job sites or into the offices, or vice versa, bring the professionals into the classroom with hands-on exercises or just good stories of practice. And you know, we are looking for every opportunity to have and to start to build more and more relationships with the industry professionals. You know, I'm a firm believer that students learn through doing. So, you know, the internship opportunities that we're trying to build within the department, getting the students out there in the professional world or setting for short periods of time, experiencing what the practice world is like is something that's very key to me. So the engagement of the industry with our department, with our faculty, with our students has to be key. And that also allows for that collaborative idea to grow as well, right? Not only are we exposing them to the engagement, but now we start to invite the industry professionals in to collaborate with the faculty and students at our level as well. So, you know, yeah, that's where I am. I just want to have more engagement. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. And it's the hands-on collaboration is so important. Back to you, Dean Ferguson.
Yes, Andrew had one exceptionally long word that seemed to be many. He actually stole my word. I would say that the question in some sense gave us the answer, right? It put it at the end, this sense of engagement and really how we can create and build a partnership with many of the people around here. You know, there's many different ways that many of our alumni are also a role model for our students as well, in terms of their career trajectory, whether that's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or so, that they can re-engage back certainly into this college and back into the university, because people need these role models to know what success looks like. And our alum, you know, really bring that sense of success to the table. You know, what's also important is in our college, I think 70% of the students who graduate from our programs are still in Georgia in 5 years' time. I might have mentioned that previously, you know, so we want you to employ our students when they graduate. They're really well equipped. We want you to visit with us. You know, even these times of COVID, we can still have visitors on campus and to show you around and to show you what the students and the people here are doing. And really it's through this that we can create a partnership where you can invest in the students in many different ways in terms of just your time, scholarships, and in other ways. So what I'd like to do is to invite you to come visit with us, and we can show you what the students are doing.
That's
and
great.
What the next generation is doing.
Yeah, I think it's a lifelong partnership, right?
It certainly is.
Thank you, Dean Ferguson. And Dean Preston, what about you?
Thanks, Trish. Yeah, so I'm going to, you know, if imitation is the best form of flattery, I'm going to echo what Kojo and Andrew and Ian have already said. And I'll point to the great partnership that we've had with you, Trish, and HPCC Systems, the summit, the opportunity that you all have provided to our students, and that partnership and engagement that we have with our local companies that provide these unique outside of the classroom experiences is amazing. So we've done research projects, and our students have had the opportunity to present at the HPCC Systems Summit and really get visibility for their work, and that's just a tremendous opportunity. We also do that within our capstones and even earlier through hackathons. So we've had great partnership with a number of companies. We can do these 48 or 72-hour sprints. Companies can come in and say, here's a problem, and get kind of crowdsource among our students to think on a problem. It also goes beyond what might be in a textbook, or, you know, there's something in the back of the book where you can answer this. These problems are nice and messy, and that's a great thing for our students to realize that there's a trade-off in designing solutions, that not everything is linear and there's a nice, easy solution, but the complexity is really key, and we really value that. I'll also point out that when we partner with companies, you come from industries, and we're able to apply computing in just about anything, and take problems that companies, whether it's Incom in FinTech, or whether it's analytics and data science with Equifax, or in HPC Systems, there's an opportunity there for students to take the core of their computing experience and then apply that in specific business domains. Also applying this for social good and advancing and using computing to help advance society. So we really, again, value that engagement. And the number one ask that I would have is, as Ian mentioned, reach out to us. It's because you know, an alum will pick up the phone and call or email and say, hey, we've got this situation. What do you think you can do on it? And our students have an opportunity to really explore that space and do some great stuff. It's a win-win all around.
Yeah, it definitely is a win-win, you know, coming from experience with working with all of your wonderful faculty and students. But that's wonderful. Thank you all for your responses and sharing your perspectives in that area. And moving on to our last prepared question, it's actually a nice segue into this, and I can't wait to hear the answers on this one. How is your college preparing students to be work ready in the STEM field? Dean Payne, let's begin with you, and I know you touched on a little bit, but maybe you can elaborate a little more.
Sure. The word for this one is internship. You know, we are really focused on the idea that students need to have experience before moving into the professional world, and doing that through, you know, organized internships with industry partners is key. But not only are we preparing students for that initial position, we're doing that through, you know, sort of cutting edge technology in the classroom, hands-on experience in the labs and in the field, but also teaching them the idea of what professionalism really is, and how and why, you know, the communication and working with and around people is vital to no matter which position you move into. So we're not only giving them the tools technologically and the book learning, but also the communication and social skills that really prepares them to be in a position. You know, so many of the majors that we cover in the STEM areas are not only technology focused, but they really are people centric. And I have a firm belief that, you know, if you have somebody learn with their hands and then can communicate that verbally to people, they're going to be well-rounded. You know, that's a very basic and simple answer, but I mean, that's the root of where I start with my faculty and students. And if we can continue to do that, I think we're going to continue to produce, you know, highly prepared students for the workforce.
Yep, I agree. Thank you. I mean, applied learning is so critical. So thank you for your thoughts on that. Dean Ferguson.
I'm not sure I can really add on to what Andrew said, but I'll try since you've given me 2 minutes or so. But I would say that, you know, in our college, that what we're doing is we're educating our students for a career. Career's an envelope function, 15, 20 years or so, so that they can train into a job. Our job isn't to turn people into something, but to help, and it's a privilege of taking a walk alongside them, to help them to complete the sense of who they are and how that may map into a particular discipline, whether or not it's in our college where we have 6 departments and multiple programs, or if it's in John, Kojo's, or Andrew's college or elsewhere. You know, that sense of completionism in them. We create that balanced skill set in our students as well, and our students are known for I call it tying things together. TIE stands for the technical depth that they have, or technical ability, intellectual depth, so it's been able to add that in, experienced professionals who have the interpersonal skill sets and the professional skill sets to do well. So you have this, almost, I was going to say triune or triptych, you know, of skill sets that come together that, again, complete the sense of who that person is. We do engage industry early on in the student's journey. Many of them have internships early on. You'll see it when you walk through our college in terms of, you know, people who have donated equipment, donors who have actually sponsored space in that within the college. It's somewhat intrinsic to what we're doing. You also see it as the students graduate. We have senior design projects, and these senior design projects, and again, another point of connection with industry, are experiential. So the students are no longer working within their disciplines, but they're working in teams of electrical, mechanical, civil engineers, industrial engineers, and people in the technology programs and that. And at the end of the day, our job isn't to turn people into something, But if you get nothing from what I've said at all, it's about completing the sense of who that person is. And if that gets in alignment, what you do is you release this sense of passion in people's life. And they're no longer defined by a 4-year degree for what they're doing for the next 40 years. You've had the privilege, as I say, of joining them on that walk.
Yes, I think that's so important. You know, relationships are key.
Yeah.
Dean Preston, tell us how your college is preparing students for work readiness. And I know you also touched on this, but if you can elaborate a little more.
We did. Well, one of the advantages that being Kennesaw State is we're part of a university system of Georgia. And as a public institution, we have a duty and goal of creating that educated workforce long-term, as Ian mentioned, building careers and having people stay local. So we take that very seriously, looking towards the strategic initiatives of the state itself and what are those areas that the state is trying to advance. And then we serve that critical role of being that place where students can come and launch their careers. So to the last question, we all talked about industry engagement and how we really cherish that. It's so that our students can launch strongly into your companies that you're working with. But we also look downstream and look into the middle schools and high schools. And we really do a lot of outreach to let students in those critical years become more aware of opportunities in STEM. It's really important in those middle school years for students to take those science and math classes that will best prepare them for success in our respective colleges here on the Marietta campus. And so we see that this is a continuum, and we serve a bridge between the middle and high schools here and raising awareness and improving access and broadening participation in STEM, and then acting as a conduit for our students upon graduation to go out into the workforce. We also focus on T-shaped students, right? So they get the breadth of computing in STEM, but we also in our curricula allow them to dive deep in a capstone experience and build a really strong portfolio, often working in capstone or funded projects from our industry partners, so that not only do the industry folks have an opportunity to interview our students long-term across a project in a class, hiring the best folks, but it also builds a really rich resume that our students can go out and demonstrate how strong they really are upon graduation.
Yeah, thank you for your input. And, you know, that's a great point that they're starting, you know, STEM fields earlier, you know, in the middle schools and even in elementary schools. So I think that's awesome. Dean Mensa-Wilmot, the same question.
All right, so as I was sitting here, I think I sort of changed my mind in terms of where we want to go in the future in this, because I was thinking a meeting I had with a friend and what he told me. So first, I think what we need to be preparing the students for, and what we're going to focus on a lot in the near future, is to emphasize the value of critical thinking skills for resilience in the real world. So I'll repeat that. It's critical thinking skills for resilience in the real world. Because, you know, no matter what subject you study in a College of Science and Math, in the real world, what you need to be able to do is quickly learn the systems that are available, but then you have to be a problem solver. I think most of you on this call may probably agree with that. And the resilience part comes from the fact that we have to adapt to whatever environment we place our students in. So we need to build into our curriculum that ability to be able to adapt to different situations, and we have to find a way to bring that to the students' door and let them really make that a part of their thinking processes. And I think part of that is going to be to embed in our curriculum that experiential part about learning, because that stays with you the longest. So when we put all those three things together, I think we're going to train our students to be highly adaptable, to be ready to change careers if they want to, because they're critical thinkers, and they will be able to survive anywhere because we've introduced the elements of resilience to them and talking to them really about what the world is really like, not in the protected environment of the college campus. They need to understand that the world is not as safe as they feel it when they are on their campus campus. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, well, those were all excellent answers. Thank you so much. And wow, what a great time to be a KSE student in these colleges. So thank you to all the deans for providing us with such great information. And right now, we're going to check in with our alumni and ask some of the questions that have been posted in the chat. We apologize in advance to our alumni if we run out of time before we do get to your question. But now I'd like to pass it over to our chat moderator, Adriana Clark, for the first question.
Thank you, Trish. So it looks like we do have a question regarding co-ops versus internships, especially in STEM areas. So I will pose this to each dean of which work/education option is being recommended to the students today or is seen as a more successful option for students' future success. Dean Ferguson, if you don't mind sharing first.
You want me to chat first? I got
Yes, please.
when you talked on this. I haven't completely separated co-ops from internships. In many ways, some of them you do actually get academic credit for, but what you actually find is that in our college and in this university, many of the students are first-generation students, 25, 30% or so. And what you'll find, particularly in the College of Engineering, that many of our students are also working part-time while they're actually doing their degrees. So that sense of an intern or co-opship, where it may happen during the summer, still does actually occur. But for many of the students, you know, they're scrappy. It's just this desire to get through, to not incur a lot of debt associated with their education. Certainly in our college, many of the students are already working part-time, and sometimes you will see them spend a semester off to work again and then come back again with additional funds. That's why scholarships and other things tend to be so important. It helps to keep the students engaged in their educational process as well.
Thank you, Dean Ferguson. Dean Payne?
Yeah, sure, certainly. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm the opposite of Dean Ferguson here, where I do have a very clear distinction between what I would consider co-op and internship. And our college right now is putting together formal proposals for academic credit for organized internships. And it's because we have learning objectives tied to those internships. And I see it as two different things. Somebody could be employed right now, even in the career that they're completing their degree in, working part-time and going to school part-time. In my mind, that's they're going to school and they have a job, right? But when you tie the academic credit and the learning objectives to it, in my mind, that's a formal internship. And that's what we're really setting out in the College of Architecture and Construction Management to put on paper and make a policy and offer up to the students. We'll be rolling that out initially, probably in the next year. It's on paper right now. We're getting feedback from industry and administration on it. So I think there is a very formalized process that we want to pursue for our students. It makes sense in the industry that we're in, and I'm excited, and I think it's going to be very positive for us.
All right, thank you. And next up, Dean Preston, if you'll share a little bit about co-ops versus internships in your college.
Thanks, Adriana. Yeah, it's a great question, Peter. Thanks for asking it. I'll point that really it's about building that strong resume and that portfolio. And so if a student can do that through out-of-class experiences like an internship for one semester, perhaps they're using Capstone or the hackathons to show the breadth of their skills, then that will work. Co-op takes much longer, as you know, and it's a kind of an on-off, and it will certainly extend a student's time here with us. So I know that there's the Complete College Georgia and the initiative to get students to graduation as soon as possible. Not that we don't want you here, we love you, we're glad that we have our students, but we know that there is a tremendous need for graduates in computing, and we want them out there and launching their careers. It's also time value of money, right? For every semester that they're here, either as a co-op or as an intern or as a full-time student, it's a semester that they're not out there working in industry and advancing their career and earning a full-time income. So we're very aware of the cost of education and wanting to make it as accessible to students as possible. So for us, we find most of our students are doing these internships for a semester, maybe two, And the second part of your question was about their success long-term. We find that students really have a great experience in a semester on internship and in capstone. And there's no disadvantage of just having 1 or 2 semesters rather than a more formal 4-semester or 3-semester co-op. They're able to be very, very successful with their capstone and their internship and hackathon experiences, that they do these things as they progress through the 4 years of studies.
Thank you, Dean Preston. All right, I will go ahead and move on to Dean Mensa-Wilmot for your thoughts on internship versus co-ops for your college.
Yeah, so this is an area where the College of Science and Math has not been very active. And so the certificate program that I mentioned earlier really will be an option for someone, a student who takes many, whatever courses and so on that we want in that program and has an internship. They can opt to go ahead and get a certificate, or they can just graduate with a degree in whatever discipline they are in, but they become much more easy to employ if they have had that series of courses and with the internship. So that's an area that I'm going to be focusing on to help the students have that experience, because it's a real world experience and it's going to help them in the future. So we have work to do in that area.
Thank you all for your answers. We do have another question in the chat from Sharon. She is saying that at one time, Southern Poly would host a tech fest on campus, which was very popular with the community. And she would like to know if there are any plans to bring tech fest back. I'm not sure if Dean Preston, if that's more towards you.
I'll start, but I'm sure that that others can join in. Yeah, TechFest was great, and for those that might not know, it was essentially a nerd day, and I say that affectionately, right? Where faculty and students could showcase the projects that they're doing and really invite the community. Again, as a public institution, we take our community engagement incredibly seriously, and KSU is a Carnegie designated community engaged university. Because of our active engagement that we have across our region. So we, in a non-COVID environment, we're always looking for opportunity to have students come, or potential students, again, that middle school and high school, come on campus, see what college is like, learn about the different majors here on the Nerd Marietta campus, right? Very, very happy for that. And oftentimes, as Ian mentioned, we've got a lot of first-generation students, and we're very happy for that. So we want, again, broadening participation and raising awareness that absolutely you can do college. We put our shoes on one at a time, just like you, and you can fit in here and you can be very successful. So post-COVID, when we can host more face-to-face events, we absolutely want to get back to those things and have as much community engagement as possible, Sharon.
Thank you, John. The next question that we have, it looks like it is from Dale. He is asking if you all have considered interaction between the psychology department with specific businesses and our STEM schools to better develop collaborative relationships and also better define required skill sets and knowledges, as well as expand them and develop more extensive intern programs. So I believe for the psychology department, we would probably go to Dean Mensa-Wilmot.
Psychology department? No.
I'm not quite, okay.
No.
I apologize then for putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had some collaboration, worked on some collaboration with the Coles Business School, and we have also thought about some collaboration with the School of, is it Humans? CHSS. It stands for something. And we have a meeting actually.
College of Humanities
and Social Services, right?
and Social Science.
Yeah. Social Sciences. Okay, good. So we have a meeting actually tomorrow to talk about STEM K collaboration. So we are doing that. It's just that it's not as precise as psychology. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let me add to it as well. I think the important thing is for us, it's about this entrepreneurial mindset. And the entrepreneurial mindset, although you have a depth of knowledge in a particular technical area, you need to be able to develop that breadth of knowledge over multiple areas. So our educational process and some of the gen ed classes and other things that we're actually doing do couple into that, and we want to be careful as the students go through their education that they continue to do that. In engineering in particular, we have accreditation, ABET accreditation, and as part of that, we have a requirement to be able to hit and to show these connections into the other disciplines on an ongoing process as well. So I think in some sense, and I'll say to Kojo, it's so kind of ingrained in what we do, sometimes you don't even see it's there.
Adriana, if you don't mind, I could jump in here as well.
Go for it.
For architecture, human-centered design is really where we do a lot of collaboration with psychology department mostly. My background is universal design, which is really user-centric. We do have some faculty that have interest in those areas. In the 10 months I've been here, I haven't seen a lot of that interaction, but part of what I foresee in the future is building these relationships across campus and across campuses to be able to have new research paths for faculty, new opportunities for students in the design studio to pursue topics that aren't really covered in depth. And I think the psychology department is just one of many here where design certainly overreaches. So I am interested in having that conversation both in the university as well as out in the field. So I appreciate that question, sure do.
Thank you. And then I am going to try to sneak in one last question here. So it does look like we have a question regarding initiatives or any scholarship opportunities to encourage women in technology. So Dean Payne, do you want to go ahead and start us off with that question as well?
Well, I think I can talk a little bit specifically about the college level scholarships. And throughout our College of Architecture and Construction Management, we've got numerous endowed scholarships and scholarships that are regularly offered. They don't specifically look to women. They're more broad in general, but we have a very diverse group of students, and we encourage all of them to partake and participate in the scholarship programs. I do think that we've had a lot of success with the recipients over the past several years being from very different backgrounds, not just gender related. And so, I think that's a positive thing that we are seeing a very wide range of performers within the college. And I want to make sure that, they all have equal access to the support that they have. So, that's an area that I strongly voice my opinion of support for.
Thank you. Dean Preston, are there any initiatives or scholarships for women in technology for your college?
Thanks, Adriana. Yes, we are a member of the Women in Technology. We've got a student club, so there's a very active and supportive environment here within the College of Computing. The second part of your question, Miyu, was also different bachelor's degrees, right? Getting into STEM if you come from another discipline. And very happy to say that our Master's in Information Technology is very accessible. We have the majority of our students, in fact, are coming from another discipline and don't have a bachelor's in computing. That degree was designed to be completed either face-to-face or completely online. And there's scaffolding in place for people to transition and do career transition into the MSIT. We've also launched the Master's in Cybersecurity, and this is jointly with the College of Humanities and Social Sciences with their criminal justice faculty, and also the Coles College of Business with their Information Security Assurance faculty, and the College of Computing, all together have created a Master's in Cybersecurity, really important area, tremendous number of jobs in there, and that's a fixed cost master's degree that can be completed in 12 months. So we're bringing down the cost of education as much as possible through Affordable Learning Georgia, free textbooks, and we have some graduate lab assistantships as well as graduate research assistantships, and we do have some scholarships as well. I'll give Trish a shout out. We've got one of our endowed scholarships is from HPCC Systems. So very happy about that. And so there are opportunities, like Andrew mentioned, across the college for that. And if you're interested in career transitioning and getting into computing, I've posted my email in the chat window. I hope you'll reach out to me and I can get you connected to those programs.
Thank you so much, Dean Preston. Trish, it does look like we are up for our time.
I'll add just a few
sorry, go
comments
ahead, Dean Ferguson.
Go if you don't mind. In the College of Engineering, very similar to John, we have SWE, the Society of Women Engineers. Again, I was privileged to be at an event last Friday night where we had the Coca-Cola scholars, and there was about 40 who were a very diverse group, you know, male, female, and many different demographics in this in this university and across the college. So I think you'll find that if you actually join, or if you look at SPE, we're about 50% white, 50% non-white. We have some of the largest number of African American or Black students who graduate from us. Our women, the number of women involved in our programs is also growing. And we're developing programs such as environmental engineering, or that which tends to bring in more female students than some of the more traditional engineering programs also. So I think you'll find that there's a very friendly environment here for everybody.
Thank you, Dean Ferguson. Dean Mensa-Wilmot, I didn't mean to ignore you either. Did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Well, just because you asked, yes.
Okay.
So I would say on the women's side, we do have a Women in Mathematics Club at KSU, so we can spread that. We don't have a special scholarship in that space, but I wanted to point that out. Then you might also notice that I said very early on in my remarks that one of the things that I want to make sure that we as a college pursue is this idea of inclusive excellence. So we want to be excellent, but we want to be inclusive at the same time. So last night, for example, I met with the students in the Louis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. And so the point is that once you inclusivity, then you're bringing everybody on board. So I'm very excited about that. We're going to push that going forward. Being excellent and being inclusive go together, and I'm very happy to push that agenda. Yeah.
Thank you, Dean Mensa-Wilmot. All right, well, now it looks like our time is up for questions. Before I turn it back over to Trish, I did want to let everyone know that if we weren't able to get to your question, please don't fret. We will be going through them individually and reaching out to you to get you the answers or any connections that you might need to get the information you are looking for. So with that, Trish, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Adriana. This has been such an informative and educational discussion, and I anticipate a number of new relationships forming among the colleges and industry based on the topics covered tonight. So well done. As we wrap up, special thanks to the deans again for answering all the questions posed and sharing their current plans and initiatives with us. And thank you, our audience. We appreciate you joining us for our very first STEMFest. As shown on the slide and chat window are links to our Alumni Affairs page and links to our college's main websites. We hope you will connect with us online, and please continue to stay engaged. We look forward to seeing you again real soon. Have a great night.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.